Hello everybody, how is it going today? It is Tyler here with Zone In Sports, and in today's video we will be recapping the Week 9 college football slate, as well as going over some early picks for the Week 10 slate. So we'll dive right into it and get into the recap of Week 9. Thursday, only thing I'll mention from those games is Utah. They hold off Washington State's late comeback attempt and win 21-17. Their quarterback, Rising, ended up not playing in this game, which surprised some people. Definitely didn't see that one coming, but they still are able to get that victory there. Friday night, East Carolina with a nice win on the road at BYU as they continue to just be terrible these last few weeks, man. BYU, man, they had a solid little start to the year. First couple of weeks were looking solid, and they just fell apart, man. But yeah, going into Saturday, go over the ranked games first. So, of course, my Michigan Wolverines got the job done and beat Michigan State 29-7. So they win by 22. The spread was 22.5, so they did not cover, but I wasn't expecting them to. That's why I took the under in this game. It pretty much went how I thought it would go. Just ran all over them, controlled the game, ran the clock, just did what we had to do. I had to settle for way too many field goals, that is for sure. But either way, still went 29-7. And the under hit for us. That was one of our straight picks. We were on the under. And it was under 54.5, so it only hits 36. So pretty easy win on that pick. You seen Georgia. They actually were close with Florida for a second, as Florida went crazy in that third quarter to start and looked like they might try to come back in that game, but Georgia was able to score a couple more times and seal the 42-20 victory. Ohio State, they beat Penn State 44-31, very high-scoring game. Remember, I only considered Ohio State in teasers only, and they did cover 4 teasers. And the overhit, which is something I considered, but definitely did not officially take that, and that overhit easily. Penn State, man, they were in the lead for a little while there in the second and part of the third. But then Ohio State just took off in that fourth quarter. Their defensive tackle, I believe he was a D tackle, might be an edge rusher, but either way, it's like Tuimoloau. I can't say it obviously, but either way, he had a big game, man. 2 interceptions, one was a pick six. I think he recovered a fumble too, a bunch of sacks. Like, dude had an insane game, like just one of those games that just goes down in like defensive history, like crazy stat, like. He did it all, man. And, offensively, they didn't run the ball as well as I thought they might. They still had, Henderson got 2 rushing touchdowns, but I thought they would run for a lot more yards than what they did. Either way, C.J. Stroud got it done through the air when he needed to most, and most of that was going to Marvin Harrison Jr., man. It seemed like any time they got into a third down, it was like just throw it to him at the sticks, and he was going to make that play. So Ohio State goes on and wins that game over Penn State. So they continue their undefeated run this year. Big matchup in Tennessee, as you saw Tennessee knock off Kentucky 44-6, man. Absolutely blew them out. Kentucky got 6 in the first quarter and did not score again. So it was nice to see Tennessee's defense show up, man. Like, they're okay. They just haven't been great at all this year, and that's something that you needed to see improve on their team if they want to actually, go on to win the SEC and make a playoff run at the title. So, yeah, seeing their defense step up here. Kentucky's offense not great by any means, but either way, holding the team to 6 points is nice. So, yeah, Jalen Hyatt continues to have big games, 5 catches, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hooker, he did his thing, small, ran the ball well, and their offense, man, it's just too good. So we did have a straight pick on that Tennessee game. It was actually a little player prop double with Jalen Hyatt for the 70-plus receiving yards and Tennessee money line. Both of those together was like minus 127, depending on when you got it. Might have been a little better or a little worse. Either way, solid value there. And he got 138 yards, like I said, so easily got the 70-plus, and they won easily. So nice little win on that pick. And then we also hit on TCU, minus 6.5 comes through, as they go into West Virginia and win 41-31. Very high-scoring game here, as expected. Typical Big 12 game, especially for TCU, man. They usually don't play much defense, but their offense is just too good, man. Duggan had 341 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. The running back Miller also 120 on the ground. That's just on 12 carries, so 10 yards a carry, got a touchdown as well. So they just, their offense continues to click on all cylinders, and they get the victory there, and they hit the -6.5 for us. Oregon goes on to beat Cal 42-24. Did not have a straight pick on that game at all. I believe the spread was like 17.5, and they won by 18. So if you did take them, then you're good to go. They hit. Top 25 matchup in the Big 12. This one was very, very surprising to me. I wouldn't have been surprised if, we lost this pick, taking Oklahoma State plus 1.5 at K-State. But I definitely did not expect them to get shut out, man. Like, I know Kansas State has one of the better defenses in that conference, but Oklahoma State, man, they were the number 3 passing attack in the whole country. And to not even be able to get a point on the board, that's insane, man. Kansas State just blows them out. Lots of turnovers, man. Spencer Sanders had the worst game of his season so far, man. So that was tough. Another tough one here, Wake Forest. We had them -3.5. It was one of our most confident picks of the week. And they absolutely fell off the wagon in the third quarter. They were up 14-13 at half. And in the third quarter, I believe they had 2 fumbles lost. And they had 3 interceptions. And 2 of them were pick sixes. So, yeah. Can't even be mad at the Wake Forest defense, as most of the scoring was because of these turnovers from the Wake offense. It's just sad, man. Like, how do you let that happen? Louisville outscores Wake Forest 35-0 in the third. Like, that's nuts. All those turnovers, man. I think they had like 8 in the game and 5 or 6 alone in that third quarter. Like, come on, man. That's terrible. Of course, we had Wake Forest money line as picking a lot of our parlays, and one of them only missed by a leg, being Wake Forest, and that's just games like that. It's crazy to see it happen, but they're kids, man. This stuff, it'll happen, man. It's college football. Wake Forest, man, that's a team I've been liking to bet a lot these last couple of years, so it's tough when they do me like this, but we'll see if they bounce back and, turn the ball over a little less next game. USC Arizona was very high scoring, man. The total on that was 76.5. Remember, I gave this out as a teaser consideration, and technically, if you teased it, it would have hit. Technically, for the teaser considerations, I always just add 6 to whatever way it's going. And I'm under 76.5, so add 6, that'd be 82.5. And the total hit, 82. So, barely hits, but, the regular total, 76.5, that went over. USC does not cover, but they get the victory. Did not have a straight pick at all, just the teaser consideration for the under. Another Pac-12 game, UCLA, they win easily against Stanford, 38-13. Charbonnet, huge game, 198 yards on the ground with 3 rushing touchdowns. Also 5 catches for 61 receiving yards as well. So a big day for him, and that's what I was expecting, man. They did cover the actual spread of 16.5, but we just put it out as a teaser consideration, so that hits for us. Ole Miss, man, they get the victory against Texas A&M, 31-28. It was a pretty good game, man. I was surprised. Texas A&M's offense looked pretty good in that first quarter. Did some things that we haven't seen from them yet this season. But in the end, Ole Miss was able to run the ball just way too dang good, and were able to outscore them in the end. 31-28 victory. Running back Judkins had 205 rushing yards, man, and a touchdown. That's huge, man. 200 on the ground. Get a touchdown. You get the victory. And the Ole Miss money line hits for us. Nice little straight pick there. And then next we have a couple losses. As we had 2 picks on this Notre Dame-Syracuse game. As we had Syracuse money line. And they just got blown out, man, at home. Very surprised. As I did not expect their defense to look this bad, man. They have not had a game like this in a while, man. They usually do not do this. And Notre Dame, the way they've played this year, did not expect this. Of course, it didn't help that the first play of the game for Syracuse was a pick 6. So that don't help, of course. But either way, the defense just did not look good. And the offense couldn't keep up. So not only does Syracuse money line miss for us, but also the under of 47.5 Notre Dame scoring 41 themselves almost did it, but yeah, it goes way over. Just did not expect Syracuse's defense to lay an egg here, man. That does not happen. Just don't count on this to happen again, man. I'm not worried. I'll still be taking Syracuse a lot, but definitely stunk to take 2 L's on 2 straight picks on this game. One that did hit for us here in the Big Ten, you saw Illinois go to Nebraska and get the victory, 26-9, man. They got the job done. Defense looked good, as I expected, and Chase Brown, toting the rock, continues to have good games. 149 on the ground for him with a rushing touchdown. And we had them, I believe, -6.5. Yep, alternate line -6.5 and -134. Still solid value, so nice little hit there for Illinois. And Cincy loses a tough one to UCF, 21-25. Didn't have a pick on that one, though. And it's a good thing I didn't, because I probably would have took Cincy. And the reason I didn't is because they were on the road, so good thing I stayed away there. Nice victory for UCF. Number 21, North Carolina, gets the victory, 42-24 over Pittsburgh. So that was another nice pick for us. North Carolina money line comes through. And then the other quick Carolina, South Carolina, they take the loss at home. They lose 23-10 to Missouri. And like I said in the video when we gave out the picks, I was worried about it because it just seemed like a classic. Oh, you enter the top 25, then you lose right away. And that's exactly what South Carolina did. Their offense just could not get anything going. And Missouri gets the victory in the end, 23-10. Moving on, in the SEC game, we had Arkansas +1.5, I believe. Or no, it was Arkansas -2.5, my bad. They were +1.5 last week, but either way, Arkansas -2.5 comes through easy as they beat Auburn 41-27. And this game was more of a blowout than the score shows, as Auburn did score a couple touchdowns late. Either way, KJ Jefferson continues to do well both through the air and on the ground, as well as the running back Sanders, 171 yards on just 16 carries. Big game for him. And yeah, Jefferson ran 2 in himself. So yeah, nice victory there. Arkansas -2.5 hits easy. Oklahoma money line, another nice straight pick win for us as they beat Iowa State 27-13. Did not watch this game at all, but Iowa State's defense is pretty solid, and to hold Oklahoma to 27 is pretty good. And Oklahoma did have that fake field goal that was pretty cool. Nice little design there. Basically, it was like a halfback handoff. It's just from a trick field goal formation, I guess. But yeah, it was a nice little wrinkle they threw in there to get a touchdown. That really helped them get going, and they ran the ball well with Gray, 100 yards on the game with a rushing touchdown. So yeah, a nice victory there on Oklahoma money line. And then UConn, man, we decided that was during the video. I decided, you know what, UConn will be one of our underdog money line sprinkles of the week. I can't remember, it was like +250, +280, somewhere in that range. I know they were getting like 7.5, 8.5 on the point spread, and they go on to win 13-3, man, over Boston College at home. So that was nice, man, hitting that underdog money line sprinkle plus 250 to 280 range. It was somewhere in there. It might have even been 300. I don't know. Either way, it hits. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Nice seeing their defense, man. Only holding Boston College to 3. I did not expect that, but nice victory for UConn. They improved to 4-5. Don't think I've seen a UConn team with that many wins in quite some time. Moving on, Toledo, man. This one was tough as Saturday morning, Daquan Finn, their starting quarterback, did get ruled out. So that's why that line moved. We gave out -6.5. Then the next day, that news comes out before kickoff, and the line moved to, I believe, like 3.5 or 4, somewhere in there, depending on what book you were looking at. So I only was taken I did have Toledo -5 in one parlay, so that, of course, didn't hit. But I had a money line in all the other ones. So they do go on to win the game. Just tough, not having Finn in there. They still, get the job done, but definitely think they would have scored more if Finn was good to go. So tough loss there, man. Injuries happen. It's just tough, especially with college, because injury reports are so on and off. You never really know. Some teams really don't give out the information, and you'll learn stuff last second. So it's tough, man. You just got to be on the lookout for the weird little Twitters that aren't like the big name guys. Those are the ones, that are more like beat writers or, just media guys for like those schools in general or for those smaller conferences that will, get that information out at, hopefully a decent time. But a lot of the stuff comes out like right before kickoff for college, unfortunately. Another straight pick here, Old Dominion plus 3.5. This one was a loss as Old Dominion goes on to lose 31-17 at Georgia State. It was looking solid at half as it was tied 14-14, but it was all Georgia State in the second half as they outscored Old Dominion 17-3 in that second half. So tough loss there, plus 3.5. I thought they were going to win that game. Definitely think they're the better team still. Just never really know what you're going to get from some of these lower tier schools. The under for Iowa Northwestern did not come through, man. 37.5, very low number, I know, but felt good about it. And, of course, Iowa decides to score 33 points, their best offensive performance in a while. And I wouldn't count on them to score that high again this year, so that'll happen. A tough loss on that under there, but not too worried about it, man. Another loss here with Tulsa, man. Had them like plus 1.5 or 2.5. I can't remember. It ended up closing at like a pick 'em, but they just could not keep up, man. SMU came out to a big lead in that first half. It was 24-7 going into half. Tulsa's offense was much better second half, but defense just could not hold up enough. And SMU, man, they got the job done. They threw for, I think, like 300 yards. Actually played two quarterbacks. Not sure if an injury happened there or what, but between the two, they threw for a little over 300. And Tulsa's one strength of their defense was against the pass, so I thought they would do a little better there. And it just wasn't the case, and Tulsa just could not keep up, like I said. No offense in that first half. All second half just wasn't enough to come back as they lose 45-34, so tough loss on that one. Just really felt good about them at home and just couldn't get the job done. South Alabama beats Arkansas State easily 31-3, so they cover that minus 9.5, but we did only give them out as a straight, or as a teaser consideration, Also forgot to mention on the Toledo game, we had that straight pick, but we also considered for teasers the over of 54.5, so if you take 6 off of that puts you at 48.5, 49.5, and the total hit 51, so you would have been good to go on that one. And like I said, also the South Alabama minus 9.5, that hit the regular line, so anything you teased it to would have been good to go. Coastal Carolina, another teaser consideration. They were getting 2.5 points, so whatever you teased them to, you were good because they went on to win outright. Came out to a big lead early, scoring 21 points in the first quarter, and their defense did good enough to hold Marshall off to just 13 points, and they win 24-13 in the end. So nice outright victory there for Coastal. They improved to 7-1. Looks like they will most likely probably win the Sun Belt unless they decide to lose a game. South Alabama might challenge them late. But we'll see how that goes the next couple of weeks in that conference. UAB, it was a tough loss there. Had a minus 3.5 at Florida Atlantic. So they did end up having to go with a backup quarterback. But like I said in the video, I was not worried about that as they have a very good run game. And the run game was effective. Had 168 rushing yards for McBride with a rushing touchdown. I think he's actually the leading rusher in all of college football right now. But they just weren't able to finish enough drives as they go on to lose 24-17, man. So tough loss there, man. It's just, you got to be able to finish those drives. The quarterback that ended up playing was just barely over 50% completion percentage. So it's tough, man. Just thought that their defense was good enough. And either way, 24 points isn't a lot. So not really mad at that. It's just I thought they would be able to score a little bit more. So tough loss, man. UAB does not come through. Also, Texas Tech doesn't come through for us, man. They got blown out at home by Baylor, 45-17. Again, another team that has a great passing attack, but just could not get anything going against this Baylor team. And I know they usually have a solid defense, but this year has not been as good as usual. But Texas Tech, one of the best passing teams in the country, held to just 159 passing yards, man. Quarterback threw 3 picks as well. Actually, a couple other guys threw picks. There was 5 picks total, but the starting quarterback had 3 picks. So, yeah, you get all those turnovers and you only throw for 160 yards, basically. It's going to be tough to keep it close. And see, they got blown out by Baylor. So, no more straight picks, but one last teaser consideration that came through. We had San Diego State plus 8.5 at Fresno State. So they cover the normal line. So anything you teased them to, you would have been good to go. As they go on to lose by just 4 points to Fresno, 32-28. Fresno came back late with 15 points in that fourth quarter to win 32-28. Of course, Jake Haener was back in this one. I actually was not expecting him to be back, but he was. Either way, we were still on the right side, so it worked out. Very surprised that San Diego State's offense actually scored as much as they did, because they usually don't score much. Just thought that Fresno State would be held to much lower scoring with San Diego State's solid defense, and my thought of Haener possibly being out again. But, of course, he plays, and they go on to win. He has a big game, 394 yards, 3 touchdowns. But either way, we were still on the right side, so a nice little teaser consideration came through there. All of the teaser considerations we gave out actually hit. So straight picks went 8 and 11. Not good. Never want to be under 50%. Just not good, man. I'll probably give out a few less picks next week, and I know I say that a lot, and then it just ends up being 19 picks again. But it just depends, man. If I like 19 picks, then I like 19 picks. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That stuff will happen. It's the way of the road, man. I've been betting every single day the last couple of years. That's just how it goes. I'm very streaky as well. Like once I start doing good, that's when you want to hop on, man, because I continue to do good usually for a couple of weeks or whatever, and then I'll fall off again, and then I'll bounce back. It's just how it goes, man. Especially with college football, man. It's a tough one. I was much better with it last season, but that doesn't matter at this point. But either way, that will do it for the Week 9 recap, and we will go ahead and go over a couple picks that we have for the early Week 10 games. Of course, this week is the first week in November, which means MACtion will start. And if you don't know what MACtion is, that's just all of the MAC schools, man. They usually play. This week it's just Tuesday and Wednesday. But throughout the rest of the year, you will see Monday night games, Tuesday night games, and Wednesday night games in the MAC conference, man. It is awesome. If you like betting overs, that's usually where you want to bet them, I believe. I seen a stat. I don't remember the exact number, but the last so many years, the overs in MACtion are 56 and 28 and 3. Somewhere in that range. That sounds right. I just saw it before recording this, but either way, just know if you like overs, take overs in these games, man. Personally, I am only on one of them for this week. I do have 2 picks for the MACtion. One on Tuesday, one on Wednesday. We'll start with Tuesday. I will talk about the other game as well. I got Ball State plus 7 at Kent State. Over-under on that game, 62.5. Definitely would consider the over there, but 2 teams that just haven't been great this year. Kent State I expected to be a little better. They still, they seem to know how to score points, so they might be able to get up there. I think they will win at home. Definitely wouldn't lay the 7 with them, though. I don't have any pick on that game. But I do have a pick for Buffalo at Ohio. Buffalo is laying 2.5. Over-under on this game is 60.5. We're going to go alternate spread. When I took my notes, this was 3, and I was just going to take Ohio plus 3. And, if we get the push, it's whatever. But now that it's 2.5, 2.5 is minus 105, so I'll go ahead and buy that point back to plus 3.5 for Ohio, minus 146. So it's not great value, but like I say, anything better than minus 160, I'll give that out. But yeah, we'll be on Ohio plus 3.5. I just think that just at home, man, I definitely think that they can get the job done. Buffalo has been pretty solid this year, not great by any means. Outside of like Toledo, the MAC has been pretty, even. Both these teams are 5-3. Buffalo has covered 6 of their 8 games this year, and Ohio has covered 5 of their 8. So both solid at covering. Buffalo definitely covered more. So they have 1 push and 1 loss against the spread this year. Looking at stats, you got So Ohio's defense is pretty bad. That is not good for us here, but the one thing I do like is Ohio's offense is definitely better than Buffalo's offense. Ohio offensively is 14th in passing yards per game, so I think they'll be able to throw the ball well. Buffalo's defense against the pass is 52nd in the country, so that's not terrible by any means, around the middle of the pack there, so not great though. So I think Ohio will be able to throw the ball well, and just being at home, man, that's a big thing for me. I do always consider teams being at home usually a big factor in my picks. That's why whenever I have a lot of away teams in my picks, I always mention it because I just hate when that happens, but it's just the way it goes sometimes. But either way, man, Ohio, not a lot to go off these stats, man. Neither team is really great in any area. That is the best stat there, is that Ohio 14th ranked pass offense. So other than that, no injuries going on, nothing going on there, man. So we got Ohio plus 3.5 alternate line, minus 146 there for Tuesday night. That's actually tonight. Videos will probably be up, just like an hour or so before kickoff, but hopefully you see it in time. Either way, if you follow us on Twitter at ZoneEd Sports, link in the description, you'll already know because I put it out on Twitter already. I tweeted about it, so that way, if anyone didn't have time to get to this video in time for tonight's picks, they got put on Twitter. So moving on to Wednesday, you got Central Michigan plus 5.5 at Northern Illinois. Over-under on this game is 56.5. Definitely would consider the over again. Like I said, man, overs from action is always good, so I'd consider all of them, but I'm not taking them other than the next game. I'll go over that after this one, but no pick for me on Central Michigan and Northern Illinois. It's just two teams that just have not looked very good this year. Central had the one game where their offense went off late at Oklahoma State, but that's against a bunch of backups, and other than that, their offense, they're all right, just not good or great in any area. Same with Northern Illinois, man. I don't think they're very good either. So two teams that I just would rather just see what happens. I don't want to mess with it. In the Western Michigan Bowling Green game, that's those teams stink as well. But Western's getting 4.5 at Bowling Green. Over under on this game is 47.5. It was 46.5 yesterday when I took my notes, but I'm still going to go 46.5 alternate. Just buying them 1 point there. It's minus 132, still decent value. And personally, I might actually just run a two-leg between that Tuesday pick with Ohio and then this pick for Wednesday night with that over 46.5 for Western Michigan and Bowling Green. Those two together is plus 196. But yeah, that's just probably how I'll run it personally. But as far as officially given out as a straight pick, we'll leave them separate. Ohio plus 3.5 Tuesday night, and then Western Michigan and Bowling Green to go over 46.5 on Wednesday night. And then we'll move on a couple Thursday and Friday picks as well. Got UTEP getting 3.5 at Rice. Over on that game is 48.5. These two teams stink. I'm not going to mess with it. Originally, when I first saw it, I was going to take UTEP only because Rice just got blown out at home last week by Charlotte, who has been terrible this year, and that was only Charlotte's second win of the year. So I thought about just fading Rice going forward. But UTEP also is one of those teams that just has had some ups and downs this year and just has never really looked too good. So I will stay away from that one. 7:30 kickoff. I'll be on this one. Appalachian State is laying 3. A road favorite here at Coastal Carolina. The books just made a mistake of making Coastal underdogs last week at Marshall, and they won outright easily. So this week they're at home. And Appalachian State, that's a team that I actually like a lot. But Coastal is definitely the better team. They're at home. App State's defense, they've actually looked a lot better since giving up all those points and all those yards to North Carolina early in the year. So their defense is a little better, but either way, Coastal's got a good enough offense to where I think they will score enough to win this game. But I'm just going to go ahead and take the plus 3. That is minus 112 right now. So Coastal Carolina plus 3, minus 112 is our official straight pick on that one. I definitely think they win the game, though, so wouldn't hate taking a money line, but might as well just take the points since they're going to give them to us. So, yeah, Coastal Carolina plus 3 against App State Thursday night. Moving on to Friday, you got Duke minus 9.5 at Boston College. Over-under on that game is 47.5. Duke's definitely going to win this game, that is for sure. Will they win by double digits? I don't know. I do like them at -9.5, but I'm not officially going to give this out yet since these aren't till Friday. Just be on the lookout on Twitter for those. I will most likely tweet out what I do for those Thursday and Friday games. Probably Thursday or Friday, just depending on how we end up doing it. Still Thursday night, still officially on Coastal plus the 3. But for Friday, definitely going to hold off and not officially say we're on these plays yet, but definitely going to I'm taking something with Duke. I'll somehow have Duke in some sort of play. They're definitely going to win that game. They're the better team, man. Boston College just lost at UConn, man. UConn's just been getting disrespected. They are just one of those teams that's always been bad. Well, I shouldn't say always, but have been bad a lot recently. So, Boston College, I'm not expecting any sort of bounce back here. Yeah, they're at home, but Duke, their offense is pretty good, and I think they'll be able to get the job done. And, yeah, Duke's defense ain't good, but if Boston College can only score 3 against UConn, I'm not expecting a whole lot more against Duke. So, yeah, we'll be on Duke in some sort of way. We'll tweet that out whenever we decide, Thursday or Friday, what we end up doing with that game. UConn plays also Friday night, but we're not going to take them, man. We're not going to lay no 15.5 with UConn. I don't care if they're playing Massachusetts. I know UMass is bad. The Minutemen don't even deserve to be Division I don't think. But either way, man, yeah, UConn's going to win that game, but you won't see me laying no 15.5 with them, man. I'll take them as dogs, but that's way too many points to lay. Oregon State, the last game Friday night, 10:30 kickoff. They will be getting 3.5 points at Washington. And this is another one that I will just update later in the week what we end up officially being on. But right now I'm thinking Oregon State plus 3.5. It was 4.5 yesterday when I did my first look through on the lines. I liked it better at 4.5, but 3.5 is still pretty solid. As long as it doesn't go to 2.5. We'll most likely be on this Oregon State plus 3.5. But like I said, man, these for the picks Thursday and Friday, just, be on the lookout on Twitter for what we officially end up being on. Yeah, that's pretty much going to do it, man. We recapped the Week 9 slate and, went over how our picks went and all that good stuff. Tough week, man. It wasn't completely terrible, but, we had a lot of parlays close. We had the main one missed by 1 because of Wake Forest, and then we had, I believe, 2 or 3 other parlays missed by just 2 legs. So, yeah, it's tough, man, but just got to find the right combination. And, hopefully we do that next week. And, we started off with some early Week 10 picks. Remember we got Maction going. Definitely tons of fun to watch. Usually lots of high-scoring games. So we'll see how those overs do, as we are on one of them Wednesday night with Western Michigan Bowling Green. And then remember for tonight, Ohio plus 3. Well, plus 3.5 on the alternate line, that is, against Buffalo. Like them at home. And then Thursday, Coastal Carolina plus 3 over App State. And then, Friday, stay tuned on Twitter to see what we officially be on there. But yeah, that's going to do it. We'll wrap it up. And I would like to thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it a lot. And yeah, that's going to do it. Be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Have a nice day. Peace.